Good morning, everyone. It is just a casual day. I have a couple of errands to run, but nowhere particular to go, and the heat is on. So I just thought I would bring you along. We're going to get ready. I have pulled out all drugstore or affordable makeup to do today. So don't really have any particular look in mind, but something glowy and something that makes me feel fresh, even though I'm probably going to be sweating up a storm today. So let's go ahead and get started with eyeshadow primer. I used up my Milani eyeshadow primer and I don't want to open a new one because I've got other eyeshadow primers I'm trying to use up. So I'm going to try this one. This is the NYX pigment primer, and I've used this with pigments but never with just regular eyeshadow, so we'll see how this goes. Might be a disaster, but hey, I don't have anywhere special to be today, so it doesn't have to look amazing. Now, as I was going through my collection trying to figure out what I wanted to use, I found some old products that I haven't used in a while that I wanted to pull out, and some brand new products that I haven't used yet. So this is an old product, which it's been a long time. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Glow Lock Primer. Hopefully these products are still available. I'll link everything down below. But I typically, well, I'm kind of hit and miss with face primers, as you probably know if you've seen some of my videos. My philosophy is a good foundation shouldn't need a primer. So I typically, my favorite foundations work well with a primer or without. So I'm using one of my favorite foundations today from the drugstore, but I've never tried it with this particular primer, so we'll see. So I'm going to let that sink into the skin. The foundation I'm using isn't particularly dewy, but I think that primer needs a little time to soak in. So we're going to go back to the eyes. So the palette that I'm using today is this one by BH Cosmetics. So you can get this at Ulta or online through BH Cosmetics. And look at those beautiful colors. So this is an eyeshadow and face palette, and I've played around with this a little bit, but kind of want to have some more fun with it today. So it's called the Desert Oasis. Thought it was appropriately named. Yes, we're under heat advisory for the next like 5 days. So yeah, we're gonna be feeling like the desert here. So my eyelids still feel a little tacky, which is good when you're using a pigment. Not always the best when you're using regular eyeshadow, but that's okay. We'll set it. So I'm going to use this Wet n Wild brush and this shade right here, which is called Sand. And I'm going to use this as my brow bone highlight. And I don't mind the tackiness on the actual lid itself, but to make the crease colors blend a little easier, I'm gonna dust a little more powder just to kind of set that. So I think I'm gonna stick in kind of the warm neutrals. So we're gonna go in with this one right here, and the reflection makes some of these names hard to read. This is Canyon, I believe. Yes, there we go. And these shadows I have actually been really impressed with. They are very soft and silky to touch, but they're not overly powdery. So it's kind of the good combination. They feel really nice going on, but you don't have tons of fallout. And I've found that they seem to last very well on the eyes too. So I know BH Cosmetics through the years has continued to improve their products, so it's been a long time since I've tried anything from them, and I've been very impressed with this palette. So now I'm going to go back to my bigger, fluffier brush. This is the M504 from Morphe, and just take a little combination of that and the cream shade and just kind of do a little further blending of the edge there. There we go. And then I'm going to go back to the M433 and now just deepen the crease a little bit. I'm going to go in with this next shade, which is, what is it? Dune. And just about a shade deeper than what we put in the crease first. And really nice, good pigment. On the lid, I want to go in with this new Maybelline Color Tattoo Shadow in Socialite. Now, if you've been around the drugstore makeup world for a while, you're probably going to remember these and think they sound awfully familiar. It's because they've had them before. And even the shades, they renamed them, and I don't know, I've heard there have been some reformulations, but the shades look pretty similar to their previous line. I picked up the other shade, what is it called? High Roller, and this really reminds me of Bad to the Bronze, if you remember that. Socialite is kind of a peachy pink color, so I'm going to use a little bit of that on my lid just as a base, just to show you this. I do love these shadows. They are great on their own for an easy kind of single shadow look or just a little pop on the lid. Well, I'll have to try this new formula without setting it, but the old formula, you really didn't even need to set it with a shadow. But of course, I'm going to go over the top of this with the shadow because we've got lots of beautiful shimmers in the palette we're using today, so why not use them, right? So far, what I've noticed in this formula, it seems a little wetter formula. Not wet as in like it's going to be soupy or jelly or anything, but it just seems like they added a little more moisture to it, which might be a good thing because I think the previous formula did seem to dry out rather quickly. Before I go any further, I'm going to add some Milani. What shade is this? This is Prismatic Peach Lip Gloss. I love these. Their formula is slightly tingly on the lips, nothing painful. It's not quite as sticky of a gloss as the Buxom's, so it doesn't stay around quite as long, but it's nice. Feels really nice on the lips. Okay, now let's go back to our palette. So I'm going to go in now with this shade and maybe a little bit of this shade. So this is Quartz and this is Terrain. And I'm going to use an E60 from Sigma. There's my favorite flat brush to apply shimmer to the lid. Gives you good control and less fallout than if you were to use a fluffy brush. And whoa, look at that pigment. So that is just the shade Quartz. Isn't that just pretty? Now, obviously I put it over that base, so that's helping, but these colors on their own, I mean, they are really, really pigmented. So I really like that shade by itself. I don't think I need any Terrain. And then just go back with my M433, blend the edge of that downward so we don't have just a harsh stopping line where that shimmer starts. I'm going to add a little bit of dark shadow first and then see if I need any pencil liner. I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is Nightscape, and it's a pretty dark brown. So it looks like it has more cool tones to it, but I think it's dark enough on its own to provide my liner there, to look like liner. And I'm using just this Aesthetica angled brush. It's a little thicker than some angle brushes, so I like it sometimes because it provides a more diffused line there at the lash line. And then I'm going to wipe off that brush and now go in with this shade right here, Dune, and use that to just give a little bit of depth on this inner part of the lash line, and then blend over the top of that dark line just a little bit. And then I'm going to darken this outer corner with the M506 and a little bit more of that shade Dune. And go back with my blending brush here. Then I'm gonna go back one more time with just a little bit of that first shade we used on the 504 and just add a little more color there, and then go back with my E60 and a little more of that shimmer shade we used on our lid, and just make sure this inner part is nice and bright. The lower lash line, I was debating what I wanted to do. I think I'm going to start off with this. This is the Maybelline Rusty Terracotta. These are Lasting Drama Matte eyeliners. These are really good. I wish they would come out with some more colors. But this is a real nice kind of warm color. I'm going to use just, I think, about halfway along the lower lash line. Blend in with my finger, and then I'm going to go over the top of it with a little bit of shadow. So I'm going to take, this is the M432 from Morphe, and I'm going to go over it first with a little bit of this right along the lash line. So let's see if this just gives a little bit of definition. I don't want anything too dark down here today. And then I'm going to top it with just a hint of this orange shade. And let's just see what this looks like. It's very similar color to the actual eyeliner pencil. And I'm planning to use kind of a peachy blush shade. So I think that just ties it in. It's a very subtle bit of orange, but you can see it kind of helps bring out the color of my eyes too. So I cleaned up under the eye using my almond oil. If you've seen my concealer video, you know what that's about. And now let's get some foundation on the face. So that primer, I mean, you can see I still have quite a bit of glow, and I don't know, since it's gonna be hot, it might be too much glow, but we're gonna go with it. So I'm using my new favorite from the Drugstore foundation. This is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. You've seen this in a previous video. And I am wearing the shade Hazelnut Beige. I think this is gonna work. I'm working on some Sunless Tanner right now. So, you know, as the day goes on, the neck color's gonna change. So we're gonna hope that this works. And I'm gonna use, this is the medium size of the Eco Tools brush set. So I talked about this before. The large one is my favorite, but when that one's dirty, I go down to the next size and use that. So I love that with this foundation. And I put one full squeeze of this foundation, so it's in like a dropper style. So I think that might be actually more than I need, but I just want to show you this foundation I am just so impressed with it. I have mature skin. I am 43. I've got large pores. I have lines, and in the summertime I can be a little combination oily. So this foundation just, I mean, I set it, of course, but it stays well, it covers amazingly, and it's just so thin and lightweight on the skin. I think it's really nice for summertime. For under eye concealer, I don't have a color corrector from the drugstore, so we're just gonna wing it with concealer. So I'm gonna use a combination of these two shades from Revlon. This is the Candid Photo Ready Concealer. So normally I like to mix this with a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, multi-use concealer, but we'll just see if we can get away with just this today. And I'm also going to use just a touch of this to highlight. And I'll use a little bit because that shade's a little light. It's called light. And I'm going to use a little tiny bit of this, which is the shade Creme Brulee. And then use my fingers to work that in. So I still have a little bit of darkness right here in the caverns. And the concealer overall is just a touch lighter than I typically like for a casual day. but that's all right. I'm just gonna add a tiny little bit more. And because it's lighter, I'm gonna bring that down further outside of the under eye area, just so I don't have just a white little bit under the eye. I'll take my foundation brush, just tap all that in, make it all blend together. For highlighter, I have two liquid highlighters that I kind of want to show you. So this is the L'Oreal Visible Lift Luminous Serum Tint in the shade Golden. Is it gold? Gold. And this, I do feel like it performs very similarly to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. So I just want to show you this because it's a really, really soft glow, not shimmery. I really like it because I don't feel like it highlights texture. So, and I don't feel like it makes my face greasy through the day. Now, on top of this, I'm also going to show you, I've been trying a new one from Neutrogena, and that one is definitely more shimmery. So I want to show you this one first, and then we'll use a little bit of that. I'm still finding my way with that one, but it's nice. So this is the new one I've been trying from Neutrogena. It's called Glow On Liquid Highlighter, and it's in the shade Supernova. It's really pretty. I think this comes in 3 shades. With these liquid highlighters, you really don't need very much product, so they are gonna last a long time. So this, I'm going to just add, I'm going to keep this to the back part of the cheek because you can see how much more glow that gives. But it still soaks into the skin nicely, doesn't move the foundation underneath. So really, really nice. And then I'll take my foundation brush and just tap over that so it helps kind of blend into the skin a little better. For cheeks, I'm going to do a powder blush, but I'm also going to use this liquid blush from Flower Beauty. I bought this a while back and I've just forgotten about it. So this is the Blush Balm, sorry. And I think these are pretty liquidy, yes, as I recall, and I don't think you need much. This shade is kind of a warm terracotta color, and it is called Cinnamon. So I thought this would be nice and give us kind of that summery, bronzy glow. It is almost like a bronzer color. So, but I can't remember what I think about these. So we're gonna give this a try. Nice. It's actually blended into the skin very easily. And even though it starts off pretty pigmented, it's very buildable. So you don't have to be worried about too much product sitting on your cheeks. That's nice. Just gave a little warmth to the cheeks there. Okay, I think we're done with cream products. So I am going to just use my foundation brush to press over my lines. Just kind of make sure the foundation is pressed into the skin, and kind of helps also make sure that there's no excess foundation in those lines before you set with powder. Today I'm going back and forth. I have 2 new powders that I'm testing out. One is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder, and then the other is the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. I think I'm gonna try this one. So I'm gonna use, this is an Equate powder brush. This is awesome. It is so soft. Got it at Walmart, and I think it was $4 or $5. Super impressed with this. So I'm gonna use that. and just see what we think about this powder. So I think this powder has a little bit of coverage, which I'm not a huge fan of, especially when I have a good coverage foundation already. So I do like that this powder has SPF 15, so it's adding another layer of SPF, but I don't know about that. It definitely kept the glow, so if you've got dry skin, you might really like this. I'm going to add just a little bit of the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation or powder because I think I'm going to be oily if I don't. Okay, I'm really impressed with that powder. So yeah, we'll see how it wears through the day, but Wet n Wild Photo Focus powder, I like so much better the finish that it's given my skin. So now the question becomes, what powder do I use to lightly set the under eye area? Charlotte Tilbury, I don't think she qualifies for drugstore or affordable. So I've pulled out, I have 2 of these e.l.f. powders, and these were, I think they're still available, but these are their matte, I think they're color correcting powders. And this one is the peachier shade. It's super, feels very soft, and I've used these a long time ago, but we're gonna just try just a tiny little bit of this one and see what we think. Okay, so not bad. We'll see. I think these wore pretty well through the day, as long as you tap off and use the tiniest little amount. That is the key. For bronzer, I'm using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, but in a different shade. This is newer to me. This is the Sculpting shade, and I believe this is only found at Walmart. Has the same delicious coconut scent. It's definitely deeper. So I'm gonna use first the Sigma Soft Angled Contour Brush. This is the F23, and definitely very pigmented. Going to go very lightly here to start, so we already have some color on our cheeks. Don't want to get too carried away. So this is a little darker than what I would typically use to contour or bronze, but somehow I think as long as you go in with a light hand, this works. So it's a kind of in between cool and warm tone. It's definitely not too gray, which is nice. And you can really build this up. So if you're a deeper skin tone, this would definitely work for you. And then I'm gonna bring just a little more onto the top part of the cheek. I think I'm gonna use just this for bronzer and contour. And then I'm gonna go in super lightly with my nose contour brush. This is the Lorac Pro contour brush. Just add a light little bit of that, and then go over it maybe with my powder brush. And then I wanted just a little more sculpting, so I'm going in with the round contour or small contour, the F05 from Sigma. Love this brush. I'm obviously wearing my hair flat today, so when I do that, I feel like I need a little extra contour to the cheeks, so I think we're good now. All right, so time for some blush, and I love this blush. This is from Milani, and what shade is it? Coralina. Doesn't that just look like summer? It's so pretty. And these blushes, they really are a nice formula, soft. They have a little bit of a glow, but not so much that it emphasizes texture too much. So they really remind me of the Laura Geller Blush and Brightens. So I'm just gonna use a tiny little bit of that, super pigmented. This is the E4 from Morphe. For highlighter, I'm going to use one of my favorites. I think this is only available. This is the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter Nikki Tutorials one, and it's number 250. And I think it's only available at Ulta, but it is so amazing. I mean, it's blinding and super soft. So I have a couple of other chrome highlighters, and this one by far is the creamiest to touch. So I really like this one. I'm going to use the Anastasia highlighter brush to just slightly, I mean, we've already got glow going on, but I'm just going to add a tiny little bit. And one tip in the summertime, hot months, if you want your makeup to last longer, is to layer cream and powder. Now, you don't want to do too heavy of layers, otherwise you'll feel like you're wearing a lot of makeup. But if you do just really thin, light layers of cream and then set it with a powder product, it makes everything last longer. So just a little tip. Now, I could have used one of the face highlighters in this palette because these are all highlighters and they are amazing. But I'm going to use, let's see, let's go in with this one. So I'm going to use a little bit of that in my inner corner. And it's similar to the shade we used on our lid, just a hint brighter. I'll just blend that in. My Sigma E30. Okay, so I think we need some brows. Yes, please. I'm gonna go in with my favorite NYX Precision Brow Pencil. This is in the shade Taupe. And I've been combining this with the MAC or Urban Decay felt liner pen, but today we'll just use this. Okay, that's much better. And now to set it, I'm going to use my favorite Drugstore brow setting gel, and this is the NYX Control Freak. This is a brand new tube. I used up my other one quite a while ago and opened it for this video. Almost done with one of my others, so I thought, why not? This is pretty good. I would say it's a medium hold. It's not quite as strong as the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Gel or the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, but it's pretty good still. And I love that you don't pull the wand out and have this gloopy mess. So really good brow gel. So now it's time for mascara. And before I show you my typical mascara combo that I love from the drugstore, I wanted to show you another mascara that I've been testing out, lest you think I've not been trying anything else from the drugstore. I have the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara, which a lot of people have been comparing, and some like this more than the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, which is actually still my favorite. The wand is similar but different, and let me just show you. So similar, the CoverGirl one is actually bigger, if you can believe it, than the L'Oreal one. But this is what I don't love about this mascara. If you can see, when you take it out, this wand is so coated with mascara. I am never one that wipes mascara off, but you have to with this one. So every time I use this, it's a wetter formula, and because this brush is so goopy, even when I wipe it off, I end up with mascara oops all over my lids. So I don't like it, and I feel like it reaches its limit of buildability because it is a wetter formula. So For me personally, I know mascara is such a personal preference. I prefer a drier formula that builds volume and length, and that for me is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. So I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes with my Tweezerman Round Eyes Lash Curler, and then use my favorite combination, which is the L'Oreal Voluminous Primer, the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I use this on my upper lash line. And then for Drugstore, I love the L'Oreal Double Extend Tubing Mascara for the lower lashes because I have a terrible time with mascaras smudging under there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we will be right back. For lips, I'm gonna go around the edge with this e.l.f. concealer. This is their 16-hour camo concealer. I haven't tried it like this. I did try it under my eyes, knowing full well it would probably be too drying, and it was. But I'm going to try it here around the edge of my lips and see if it does what my MAC Paint Pot does for me. Just gonna dust my powder brush over that to kind of set it in place. And for lips, you know, on a day like this, probably many of you don't use a lip liner. I still do, even if I used a balm or a lip gloss, just because I like to keep my lips defined. So you can skip this if you want, but this is the NYX Nude Truffle Lip Liner. And then for my lip product, I'm using this Maybelline Shine, I forget what these are called, but this is in the shade Baddest Beige. And I haven't used this in a while, but it's such a good formula. It's really creamy, moisturizing, and easy to touch up through the day. Not fussy at all. And then once I'm all done, usually I'll look close at the face, and I felt like I needed a little more powder. So I'm going to use a powder puff and a little more of that Wet n Wild powder. And I'm just going to press this into the T-zone where I've got pores and where I will tend to get a little oily throughout the day. All right, so here is our finished look. And I love this kind of color combination. I will do this look often throughout the summer using various palettes, different products. But it was good for me today to focus everything on the Drugstore affordable makeup. And yeah, fun to use products that I haven't used in a while and kind of reacquaint myself with those products. I hope this was helpful for you as well. If you're looking for a new palette, the one from BH Cosmetics, definitely would really recommend that one, as well as the HD Catrice Foundation. Really nice as well, and lots of other good products that I use. So I'll continue to use some of these new ones, keep you posted. But I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and maybe it gave you at least a brief respite from thinking about how hot it really is. I know many of you have shared with me that the temperatures are soaring where you live as well. So keep cool. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.